poor farmer from South Dakota was told he was too old to fight. Just 4 days later, he became the deadliest pilot in the Pacific War, using one crazy trick he learned hunting rabbits back home. This is the story of how one man's simple logic changed the course of the air war and rewrote the rules of combat. It's 1942. America is reeling from Pearl Harbor, and the war in the Pacific looks grim. The skies are dominated by a legendary machine, the Japanese Mitsubishi A6M0. It's a masterpiece of engineering, incredibly light, unbelievably agile, and armed to the teeth. It can outturn, outclimb, and outmaneuver almost anything the Allies can throw at it. American pilots, flying the heavier, slower Grumman F Wildcat, are being shot out of the sky at an alarming rate on the island of Guadalcanal, a tiny, malaria-infested strip of land. A desperate group of American aviators known as the Cactus Air Force is fighting for survival. Their base is nicknamed the Graveyard, not just for the men, but for the planes that litter the airfield, shot to pieces. The situation feels hopeless. Morale is at rock bottom. The pilots are told to follow one strict rule: never, ever try to turn with a zero. It's suicide. Back in the United States, a 27-year-old man named Joe Foss is fuming. He's a farm boy from a small town in South Dakota, a guy who grew up with dirt under his fingernails and the wide open sky above him. He's a natural pilot, but every time he tries to enlist for combat, the recruiters laugh him off. At 27, they tell him he's too old, a grandpa. They want fresh-faced teenagers, not a seasoned man. Frustrated but undeterred, Foss finally manages to sneak his way into the Marine Corps Reserve as an instructor. Far from the action, but Joe Foss isn't just any farmer. He spent his youth honing a very specific skill: hunting jackrabbits. Now, if you've ever seen a jackrabbit run, you know they don't move in a straight line. They zig, they zag, they're a blur of unpredictable motion. To hit one, you can't aim at it. You have to aim where it's asterisk going asterisk to be. You lead the target, anticipating its path. This is called deflection shooting, and for Joe Foss, it was pure instinct. It was a simple, practical logic born from years of hunting on the prairie. He couldn't stand being on the sidelines. He fought, argued, and pulled every string he could until finally, the Marines, desperate for experienced pilots, relented. They sent him to the one place nobody wanted to go: Guadalcanal. When Foss arrived, he saw the grim reality firsthand. He saw the downed Wildcats and the exhausted pilots. He listened to the official document: run from a zero, dive away, never engage it in a dogfight. But Joe looked at his Wildcat and saw something different. It wasn't as nimble, but it was tough, heavily armed, and could take a beating. Then he looked at the zeros dancing in the sky and saw something else: jackrabbits. He thought the official rules were crazy. Why run when you could fight? He told his squadron to forget some of the things they'd learned. His rule was simple. It was the same one he used back on the farm. When you're lining up a shot on a zero, he said, lead them until you think you're going to miss, then keep leading them some more. He was teaching them to trust their gut, to aim ahead of the enemy plane, firing into the empty space where they predicted it would be in a split second. It went against everything the manuals taught. But it wasn't just about individual skill. Foss knew his 8-plane squadron, which he called his flying circus, couldn't win one-on-one. So they combined his deflection shooting with a tactic called the thatch weave, where the pairs of Wildcats would fly in a crisscross pattern, covering each other's tails. If a zero got behind one plane, its wingman could swing around and get a perfect shot. It was a devastating combination. The Japanese pilots, used to their superior agility, were completely bewildered. They'd dive on a Wildcat, expecting an easy kill, only to fly directly into a storm of bullets from another plane they never saw coming. Foss and his flying circus were turning the Zero's greatest strength, their maneuverability, into their biggest weakness. They were outhinking their enemy, not outflying them. The results were nothing short of miraculous. In his very first combat mission, Foss shot down a zero. The next day, he got another. Soon, he was downing them in pairs, sometimes 3 or 4 in a single day. The skies over Guadalcanal, once a Japanese hunting ground, were becoming a graveyard for the Zero. Foss flew with a relentless fury. He contracted malaria, which left him with a raging fever and violent shivers. He'd fly missions so sick he could barely stand, get his kills, land, and collapse. One time, his engine failed over the ocean and he had to ditch his plane in shark-infested waters, clinging to debris for hours before being rescued by locals in a canoe. He returned to base haggard and exhausted, only to be told he had to go back to the hospital. He refused. A few days later, he was back in the cockpit, hunting Zeros. In just 4 days of combat, from October to November 1942, Joe Foss shot down an incredible 26 enemy aircraft. He had single-handedly matched the all-time American record for aerial victories, set by Eddie Rickenbacker in World War I. He had done the impossible. The old man from the farm had become America's first ace of World War II. His impact went far beyond his personal tally. His farmer-esque logic, the deflection shooting he learned hunting rabbits, was so effective that it was quickly adopted and incorporated into U.S. fighter doctrine. The tactics developed by his flying circus changed how American pilots fought for the rest of the war, saving countless lives and helping to turn the tide in the Pacific. After his tour, Foss was sent home a hero. President Franklin D. Roosevelt personally awarded him the Medal of Honor, America's highest military decoration. But Joe Foss was never one to rest on his laurels. After the war, he returned to South Dakota, where he was elected governor, serving 2 terms. Later, he became the first ever commissioner of the American Football League, helping to build it into the powerhouse that would eventually merge with the NFL. The story of Joe Voss is a powerful reminder that genius doesn't always come from fancy engineering or complex theories. Sometimes it comes from common sense, from practical experience, from the simple, unbreakable logic of a farmer who knew you don't aim at the target, you aim where it's going. He was a man who was told he was too old, that his plane was a coffin, and that the enemy was invincible. He proved them all wrong. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to like this video and subscribe for more incredible stories you might not have heard. We'll see you in the next one.